Hello, everybody.
Hello.
We're excited for day one of five of the Righteousness Economically Exalts a Nation
Nation.
Challenge. So, what's in it for you? Well, as we've been sharing, that if we improve our brain abilities, then we can improve our financial assessments. What type of assessments are we going to improve today? We are improving our ability to increase our labor productivity rate. What's our labor productivity rate? So it is the output of what we're able to produce per day. So a good or service or key performance areas. That's how we're going to define labor productivity rate. So that's going to be your good or service or your key performance areas divided by what? Hours worked.
hmm
And then that's going to equal your labor productivity rate. So we are excited to go ahead and share this with you today. And we have a PowerPoint for you. My wife, my better half, is here. We're so excited she's here. She just made it after work, and we're excited for this. Now, if you're not able to catch this live, we have a pre-recorded, a re-recorded that you can watch at your convenience. But we're going to go ahead and start the presentation. Can you turn off your phone, sweetie? Thank you, sweetie. All right, here we go. Now, the nation that we're going to focus on is Nigeria, Africa. Does this apply to you if you're not in Nigeria, Africa? Yes, absolutely, because you can improve your brain abilities and you can improve your labor productivity rates. Why are we focusing on Nigeria, Africa? Well, because the need there. They have cried out for God Almighty to help them. They have over 12 million of Christians are displaced, forced into poverty, just
hmm
because they believe in uh, Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior.
Yeah.
Then we have thousands that die per year, over 59,000 since 2009. What? 59,000 people, innocent, have died since 2009. So that's why we're focusing. It's not right for innocent people, girls and guys, to be kidnapped, churches to be bombed, and for the military and the police not to enforce and use deterrence policies. So what we do is we come alongside the community and the government. We say, hey, you know what? We're going to help you rise gross domestic product.
hmm
How are we going to do that? How are we going to rise gross domestic product? Because usually governments want to rise GDP, and then they're going to have more taxable income from their citizens, and then they have more of a budget to spend, right?
Yeah.
So we help the government in Nigeria by raising GDP and minimizing systemic losses. How do we do that? By improving brain abilities and then professional codes of conduct. So let's get right into this. We're going to head on into the screen right here. So here's our introduction and disclaimer. Here's our mission. We know people worldwide are not achieving their brain ability potential in order to improve their personal financial assessments. Therefore, we've developed ingenious online training with biblical principles so people's brain abilities can reach their potential and enrich their personal financial assessments. Here we go. Now here's our focus. Now let's move this screen here. We're going to make the screen a little smaller so you can see it all. Here you go, everybody. You can see the screen right now. There we go. So let's look at this. Here we have higher GDP market conditions globally. Now, excuse the sun that's in my face. It'll go away in a little bit. But that's our goal, right? So this is what we do. I've been doing this since 2015. Now, I'm a registered inventor with the United States Patent Office. There's my number right there. I'm one out of 231 million people that has got an invention that was awarded a patent for a system and method for distributing imperative products and services. It's in the supply chain space, you could say. And now I get to share my brain abilities with you. I get to share them with you. I want you to do something even more valuable than what I created. Now, that's just one of my accomplishments. I'm a consultant and I have advanced the study of economics, brain cognition, and behavior economics, which you'll see here. But let's look at it. So here we have macroeconomics we're going to discuss, behavioral economics, labor productivity rates, expects to income ratio, and intellectual property. We want you to increase your intellectual property. And so here's some of my copyright certificates that represents that, copyright certificate seal, and then the patent office that represents that. So all these three combined are making market conditions globally rise. And we're doing it with you. So let's go to the next slide. Honey, you got anything you want to share about that?
I do. Right now we are live on YouTube, and the link for our live YouTube video that is currently on just got posted on our group page. So you are more than welcome to join us live through that way. So yes.
Awesome. Let's move it away and make sure you heard that. So Facebook, I don't know what happened. Usually it's reliable, but it wouldn't let us go live stream. They didn't want to let us share our screen. They didn't want to let us go live stream in the group. But we do have backup. We're all live on YouTube. So that's what she's talking about. Just use that link, catch us on YouTube. We'll put the replay back up here.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Tech support.
Yes, tech support all the way.
All right. Well, God's on a mission and he is helping people. So we're going to continue. Now, here is my copyright certificate for advancing brain abilities, specifically brain cognition. And we are going to share paid content with you from this copyright certificate. So if you're an author, you have to come up with something original. It's got to be novel, which means it has to be useful, right? And so the Copyright Office is not going to give you a certificate of registration unless it meets a lot of different criteria. Some of them are original and it has to be useful. All right, so we're excited to share our work with you.
Absolutely.
All right, here is what we were talking about. Total output divided by total labor input equals labor productivity. So output is goods and services produced. Labor input is the hours worked. So we don't want to work any more hours, but we want to increase the output. Now I work about 70 hours. I encourage you to be diligent. It clearly says in the book of Proverbs, the hand of the diligent prospers. My wife works about that as well. We're not telling you to be lazy, but we do want you to get more output from the hours that you do work. All right, so let's see it. I mean, what do we have here? So now this screen is a little bit cut off, so we're going to see if we can make it so you can see it. Okay. Well, this is before and after. We got this logo that's blocking after, all right? Now, we may not be able to remove the logo. So just for safety, that's what it is. So it's before and after, right? So why do we have these personal financial assessments? So I want to know if this works.
Yeah.
I want to know the results. I mean, if what you're talking about, does it even work? I mean, can you show me the proof? I really don't want a lot of academia. I just want to know what works. You have a problem and then you solve it. Our brains aren't reaching their potential. Do you have a solution? Oh, yeah. So That's why we make this at your own pace. And the good thing about it is this affects all different types of people and their income.
Absolutely. All around the world it does.
So this isn't it like about pretty much every education level, about every income level, right?
Yes.
So let's go over the sources of income that we want you to focus on right now. I mean, why are you in this group? Why are you going to spend the time with us, right? Well, let's just talk about it right now. So, what income source do you want to enrich? Let's just start. We're just putting the cookies at the bottom shelf. I don't eat cookies anymore, but you know my point. So, we got employment,
Yes.
paycheck one, paycheck two. Now, you could get a promotion, you could get a new job. Um, you can work more hours. You can get a higher paying job. You can get another job. There's a lot of ways to increase the income there. Commissions, bonuses, self-employment,
Mm-hmm.
tax refund, additional income sources. We got a lot of different sources of income that you can list here that you want to focus on, right? So depending on where you are in life, you want to focus on a certain one right here. Just focus on one of these right here. Now we also have investments, dividend income, interest income, a trust fund, rental income, Social Security, pension, annuity, and other forms of income. So just if it's not on the list and you want to focus on it, put it in the other category right here. Okay, do that right now. Take a few seconds. Focus on one of these sources of income that you are going to get enriched from taking this course. Honey, you got any comments?
No, yeah, I do because I know for me, employment was the biggest issue for me, making that specific job shine. And that's where I wanted to bring my portion is the most top-notch niche for me to be successful and was employment.
Yeah, and
So that was for me.
she increased her labor productivity rates from taking the course, reading the book by a lot. I mean, it was 27% at least.
Yeah.
Or like to be conservative.
Mm-hmm.
So she got into administration, management, the systems, the process, the attention to detail. I mean, it was really exciting. So we'll tell you more about that later. Let's go to the next slide. All right, so those are the results. As you can see here, that's what we just put those two slides together.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so your advancement in brain cognition skills. All right, we care about your financial performance elevated. Like, is there a path? Is there some guideline to this course? I mean, I'm going to go into this challenge. Do you have something like an outline? Yes, this is our outline. So the objective is to improve our brain functions. We'll get into details about which ones and the belief. So it's not acceptable to forfeit superior thought configurations. Whoa. Superior thought configurations? Is there even a standard for quantifying thought configurations? Yes. So if we don't learn this, then we're going to forfeit them. It's not okay to stay where we are.
Mm-mm. No.
We have to keep
stuck.
up. We have to get up with the pace of the competition. We can't stay where we are. We have to continually self-improve, right? So we're going to be focusing on self-improvement, and this is going to be in brain abilities, brain cognition skills, and then we'll go into education and learning, advanced brain functions for education and general learning, vocational skills, progress brain functions for work-related skills, and enhanced brain functions for personal development. So who's going to be the guide? The guide's going to be me. I was the author, and I demonstrated this for many years. This is not just theory. I didn't just come up with it and research it and put my ideas together. I actually apply this every day. And so I'm excited to share it with you. And I know how life enriching it can be to when our brain functions are improved. So let's keep moving here. Now, this is dedicated to people committed to self improvement, people interested in the interdisciplinary personal study of the mind and intelligence. Now, Danielle is working on the phone because she's talking to people live right now. She is still with us. She didn't check out. She is paying attention. Uh, so, the topic of self improvement with a focus of assessing the mind and the brain. The mind and the brain regarding the reception of knowledge, information, and factors. What can my brain improve the reception of knowledge, information, and factors within the thought configurations? Yes,
Mm-hmm.
it can.
Yep.
Then we have analysis and thought configurations. And because our screen is cutting us off, we are going to disappear for a second. And we will make sure we put the screen on so you can see this whole slide. Comprehension of future outcomes before decisions are made. Well, that's really important. We could definitely save a lot of time and money.
Mm-hmm.
We could definitely find more solutions. Just the comprehension of future outcomes before decisions are made. Analysis, right? There's people that are paid just to be analysis, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to improve in that ability.
Mm-hmm. I know I did personally. It helped me with my employee. It helped me be a better employee for sure. Mm-hmm.
All right, now we're going to get into the cognitive science. Don't check out, it's not going to be too scientific. Science does have a lot of value, though, and I know you know it does as well. So, in the book of James, chapter 5, it talks about if any of you lack wisdom, let them ask of God.
Mm-hmm.
And so, one way to get wisdom is from a teacher like me. That's my gift. I'm a gift to the world, the community, for teaching. So that's one way to get wisdom. You can get wisdom a lot of other ways, but if you know what that Greek word says
Mm-hmm.
for wisdom, do you know what the Greek word says for wisdom? If any of you lack wisdom, let them ask of God.
Mm-hmm.
And that word is Sophia. And what does Sophia mean in the biblical outline?
Mm.
Scientific logic.
Wow.
So God is saying, if any of you lack wisdom, scientific logic, it's part of the wisdom there,
Mm-hmm.
then let them ask of God, and He gives liberally. So it's important that we do develop that, right? So here we go, the scope of cognition. Well, that includes perception, problem solving, learning, decision making, language use, and emotional experience. And
Mm-hmm.
then we have the interdisciplinary foundations. All right, so we're going to incorporate these methods and ideas from computer science, neuroscience. Ooh, that's a good one. Neuroscience, the way the brain functions and how we can improve with neural synapses and neural pathways.
Very nice.
And we got even computer science methods and ideas, linguistics. It says life and death is in the power of the tongue. Well, that's a riddle. That's a proverb. But can you show me it in linguistics? It's the study of language. The most influential people. We want more influence. You want more influence. And you want to be a better communicator, better communicators, lead better, serve better, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, then you got to understand linguistics. I got to understand linguistics. I got to understand a little bit about linguistics. Oh, my. Excited to go with this. All right. So then we have philosophy and psychology. All right. Now, this is dedicated to the highest authority in the study of mind and brain cognition, cognitive science, and self help. Who is this? This is Jesus Christ. He overcame the source of impoverishment, financial inadequacy, and inferior thought configurations. He helped me compute and communicate the complexity of this new domain of knowledge within cognitive science in a manner that more people can comprehend.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I was awarded the copyright certificates. from the United States Library of Congress and Copyright Office. Why? Because I could communicate this new domain of knowledge so more people can understand. It was complex. So I'm beholden for King Jesus for granting me the competence to make some of these invisible properties within the mind and the brain visible. Wow. So what goes on inside there? I mean, can we like get a microscope and look in there?
That'd be
But
kind of interesting.
through this book and through the teaching, you will get an inside look of your brain and get a view of that. And we make it visible without any type of surgery or x-rays. All right, so let's look at a foundational diagram for brain cognition within economics, right? Maybe that cognitive science was a little too much for you. Maybe it stretched you a little bit, but let's look at something a little simpler, right? So here's a basic foundation within brain cognition, all right? So here we go. We got number one, and all you're getting, get money. Oh. And all you're getting, accomplish the goal. Oof. So go back to your personal assessment form. Remember that form? All your income sources. Remember that before, after? You focused on one of them. Let's just say employment income. Let's just say you focused on employment income. And all you're getting, get the key performance area. Okay, you're getting closer. I mean, because you got to do the key performance area, right? And all you're getting, get understanding. Oh, that's what God's word says. King Solomon, one of the wisest and richest men ever, and at the time period, the singular. Wow. Honey, you want to read step 2?
Yeah. So step 2 talks about knowledge. So in Daniel chapter 2, verse 21, in the New King James Version, it says, he gives wisdom to the wise and knowledge to those who have understanding. So how do we get understanding? By giving ourselves grace to educate ourselves with knowledge.
So once we have enough understanding, then God is going to give us more knowledge, right? And then wisdom is the application of knowledge and understanding, which we'll get into. So we're going to summate the effects of decisions before they are enacted upon. We can all get better at step 3. Then we have the continuous improvement of 1 through 3. So these happen very fast. Step 1, step 2, step 3, it happens very fast throughout the day, right? And if you're working on a certain problem within your job, take that problem and put it into this diagram. And ask God in the name of Jesus Christ for understanding. Knowledge. Daniel 2:21, right? Wisdom to the wise, knowledge to those who have understanding, knowledge for that. And then see how that's going to affect in the summit. Now, how are we going to improve our understanding and our knowledge? Well, we got step 4. So if we continue to apply steps 1 through 3, we are going to incorporate step 4. Does not wisdom cry out and understanding lift up her voice? So wisdom is crying out. What? It's a sound. It is a frequency. It is information. It's a part of physics. What? Does not wisdom cry out and understand and lift up her voice? Now remember, King Solomon said in chapter 1, listen to these riddles. A riddle, an enigma. This is one of them. Does not wisdom cry out and understand, lift up her voice? She takes her stand on top of the high hill beside the way where the paths meet. Well, what does that mean? It means when you study this word and you know that God has given an intellect, God Almighty has given an intel in his word and through knowledge of him. And it's right there. Cries out and understand, lifts up her voice. And where is it at? It's a view of possibilities and probabilities. It'll be beside the way. What's the way? The way is best practices, cause and effect. And we'll find out more about the way. And if you know about the way, I'm working on the way, she's working on the way in context of Proverbs 8, 1 through 3, then you'll see what the way equals or the effect equals. You'll see the properties of Proverbs 8. All right, now what's one of the properties of Proverbs 8? Let's go to step 5. My fruit is better than gold, yes, than fine gold, and my revenue than choice silver. What? My fruit is better than gold? Yes, than fine gold, and my revenue better than choice silver? That's a riddle. Well, can you give me some meaning on it? So, what's better than gold? At the time period, gold was a currency back then. It was also very valuable still. So, in one view, now there's other meanings of this. You can get your own meaning as well. But in one view, we are able to produce something better than gold, fine gold and revenue than choice silver. What is it? Output. What? Yeah. So GDP, are you familiar with that? Gross domestic product. You probably heard it before. Gross domestic product. So gross domestic product is so influential in determining a nation's store of value and unit of account for their currency. Wow. So we don't have a gold standard anymore. We don't have the petrodollar anymore. So it's our output that would give a lot of value to our currency. And so the fruit of applying step 1, step 2, step 3, and step 4. What is the fruit of applying step 1, step 2, step 3, and step 4? That's the fruit right there. It's better than gold and silver. Now, we prove it on our forms. So can you read these forms off for us? Now, we're just going to focus on labor productivity rates because we want you to stay focused. But these are other personal assessment forms that other people, by taking this course, by applying these brain cognition skills, have enriched. Go ahead, Danielle. Just read those forms and those assessments.
Yes. So the expense to income ratio, the assets, the disposable income, health statuses through physical, mental, and etc., and then learning curve rates.
Nice. All right. So the type of brain skills related to this biblical term by King Solomon is right here. So is there a basis for wisdom that's superior? Well, there is. And that's why we put it in here. Hakma wisdom. All right. That's Strong's reference H2451. And so when we study this, when you take this challenge, when you study the book, when you take the online course, if you choose to take the online course, you're going to get better at skill, administration, technical work, prudence, comprehension of various domains of knowledge and shrewdness. Now, where did you find that? That's the biblical definition of the word wisdom that King Solomon's talking about. This is not the natural mind wisdom. Stay with me, honey. Stay with me. Want some water?
Oh, yes, thank you.
So these are what you can expect to improve. All right. Now, what are some of the properties of Proverbs cognitive reasoning? We went over a little bit about the skills. What are some of the properties? Well, what do you mean properties? Well, if you apply these thought configurations, if you apply these brain computations, then what are you going to get? You're going to get properties. The property, it owns it. It's a property. It's inherent. So you could say promises. That would be a synonym. But for our course, in our teaching, we're using the term properties.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we got complex understandings, counsel is mine, and sound wisdom. I am understanding. I have strength.
Strength.
So I should be experiencing more complex understandings. The master craftsman attributes relevant to us right now. I was beside him as a master
Master
craftsman.
craftsman.
So this is talking about the thought configurations, brain computations, the intel of Proverbs 8, right? We're able to lead people with proficiency. By me, kings reign and rulers decree justice. Riches and honor come to those who consistently apply P8 cognitive reasoning, thought configurations. Riches and honor are with me.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, riches and honor are with me. Well, that's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
So, right now, can you improve complex understandings? I know I could. Can you improve master craftsman attributes?
Yes, absolutely.
What about can you improve with leading people with proficiency?
Yes,
What about riches and honor? Could you use some more riches and honor?
yes. And you can apply all of these into your job every single day because you don't want to be a mediocre employee. You want to be a phenomenal, wonderful, proficiency, rich, and honorable employee.
Absolutely. Can you speak a little bit louder too for him? Because you've got to be high energy.
Oh, yeah. We don't want to be just a mediocre employee. We want to be a master craftsman. We want to have proficiency, and we want to be rich and honorable in our, in our jobs as an employee. We want to do all that. And how do we do that? By educating ourselves through King Solomon's wise words through P8 Cognitive. So, yeah.
Awesome. All right, let's go to the next slide. All right. So, computing in our brain unquantifiable number of variables, possibilities, and probabilities from the top. She takes her stand on the top of the high hill. Oh, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Who's she? Remember, it's a riddle. So in this context, it's scientific. So it's intel that's transmitting to your brain. What? Yeah. Stay tuned. How did King Solomon become the wisest and richest man? What happened to his brain?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're going to learn. All right. The enigmatic phrase, where the paths meet, is a general outcome, result, and effect following our thought configurations.
Mm-hmm.
The thought configuration necessary to produce the causation of the way are composed of best practices,
Mm-hmm.
techniques, operations, policies. Beside the way where the paths meet. Where is it meeting? It's meeting at best practices, techniques, operations, policies. All right?
Mm-hmm.
So we got to get better at knowing the way to this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Remember, that was in verse 2. So we just went over some of the verses later in the chapter.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, conceive factors within the brain, within thoughts, and data within thought configurations that are relevant and expedient to our objectives.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's interesting. I dwell with prudence and find out knowledge and discretion.
Mm.
So we're on information overload. So you want to be able to find out knowledge, the expedient knowledge that's going to get you to the properties of Proverbs 8. Let's say things like by me, king's reign, master craftsman. You want to find that knowledge, right? And you want to get good at research
Mm-hmm.
and getting expedient information and then implementing it versus just storing up on information and not put it into action.
Right. You want to apply it to where you work and even in your family. If you're a spouse or if you're a parent, you want to implement this. How does my outcome, my results affect everything that I do? How can I apply the best practices of being a parent or an employee or an employer? The techniques, the operations, the policies. You've got to find out that knowledge and discretion and apply it.
That's right. All right. So this is another like breakthrough, right? I mean, it's like, what? My brain is able to improve computations. I mean, are you going to put like new RAM in there, new CPU? Like, what? Yeah, well, I mean, it functions very similar to that. So now you're about to get like PhD level stuff here, okay? Right? This is what people told me. PhD. All right, now, this is just a little taste. Taste and see the Lord is good. All right? Now, don't get overwhelmed with this if you cannot get it. You're just supposed to just taste it. It's like, oh, that's interesting. I want to learn more. I want to apply it. All right. So now we're about to take off. Ready? We just went over properties
Mm-hmm.
of P8 contribution.
Mm-hmm.
Proverbs 8. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, how do we get them though? I mean, thought configurations, computations. Okay. So it's in the domain of our thoughts and our computations, and then we enact codes of actions, right? We have to
Mm-hmm.
apply it into a
Mm-hmm.
code of action, right? So here we have step one, number one. Now, this is a diagram for brain cognition.
Mm-hmm.
Why is this so important? This is so important because you need to see us. I know you haven't seen us in a while, so we're going to go right here. This is so important because you have a guideline now and a standard. You read some of those properties. Now, how do we do it? All right. Well, if I'm not getting some of those properties, I need to look at this right here.
Mm-hmm.
So let's look at number one, Intel. Well, we're going to hold off on factors, codes, data, and procedures. A little too much for right now. But we'll focus on Intel. It simply means, to make it simple, useful information. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, those are going to be in our thought configurations. Then they become organized and they become a computation. This plus this plus this plus this equals this, right? Arithmetic, right? Not that hard. Then we have codes of actions. What are codes of actions? Well, that's interesting. It's very general.
Mm-hmm.
So it covers comprehensive codes of actions.
Mm-hmm.
So it can be physical work without words, and it can be with words. It can be in writing. It can be verbal.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Words and writing and verbal, body language, and then you can talk about working with your hands, physical, sports, military, that type of thing, right? So codes of action is not just limited to whatever it is. So think about your codes of actions. Let's go back to your personal finance form, and you are going to increase your income,
Mm-hmm.
employment. And how are you going to do that? You're going to do that by codes of actions. You already do them right now. Now, how can those codes of actions improve? Well, it's interesting. Now, when we enact the codes of action, step 4, okay, you're at step 4. You're at step 4. Now, if you want that pay raise, if you want that new job, if you want more commissions, whatever it was, number on your income, you have to do step 5. I have to do step 5. I get to do step 5. This is laws.
Mm-hmm.
So this is about laws, governing, mediating, and rendering a judgment.
Mm-hmm.
What? Yeah. So look at this. Now, if I apply the codes of conduct, right now, I do a lot of different work. I'm a teacher, so let's just talk about teaching right now. So if I have the right tone of voice, the right vocabulary words, the eye contact, plus my presentation, the illustrations, hopefully this technology is working, then I have a better chance, right, of abiding law abiding algorithms governing maximum economic measurements.
Mhm.
Now, if I violate it, there's already a code. What are algorithms? It's nature's computing codes. Nature's computing codes. Don't get limited on algorithms that are only in IT
Mhm.
or computer science.
Mhm.
Algorithms. God created algorithms. Nature's invisible computing codes. And how are we going to decode them? Well, that's why you're going to take the course. So now, if I have codes of actions, my tone of voice, plus my presentations, plus my eye contact, plus the technology streaming that correctly, right? Then I already enacted that, right? So I don't have much to do. I just enact my codes of action, and then I'm either equating, equaling, or I'm not, or it's a violation. A violation, yeah. There's God already put Proverbs 8 into creation before it was there on earth.
Mhm.
It says it in Proverbs 8.
Mhm.
What?
Mhm.
Yes, that's etymology, the origin of knowledge. What? Yeah, etymology, origin of knowledge, okay? So God knows about how he's going to get you and I more of these riches and honor and enduring riches that last through time. And why? Because there's codes. So you would say something like this. Most people would say something like this. I I made this investment. I did this. I talked to my boss this way. I made this presentation, and it was foolish. Okay. Or I made a mistake. All right. All right. So within that code of action that you conceived within your thought configurations and your brain computations, we missed it somewhere.
Mhm.
Because all you have to do is enact the right code, a self contained sequence waiting to be enacted upon. And then what happens? You get the properties,
Mhm.
right? So, all right, so let's just do one more simple example, okay? So we're going to talk about laws. I want you to think about laws, right? All right, so now let's talk about the law of gravity. If I drop this phone, it weighs this much, X, right? It weighs a certain amount, and it's going to be governed, mediated, and judged by what? The laws of gravity.
Mhm.
So because it weighs this much, it's going to fall at that rate, right? So because I enacted those codes of conduct,
Mhm.
because I renewed my mind, the neuroplasticity of my mind, because I improved my thought configuration, because I summate, I can comprehend more about the future outcome. If I do this and this is going to happen, I got more of the riches and honor. I
Mhm.
got more of the enduring riches over time when the markets go up and down, stocks go up and down, income goes up and down, expenses go up and down, the income and expense ratio goes up and down, right?
Mhm.
All right. Danielle, just some concluding thoughts. Any concluding
Oh,
thoughts
I've
on
got a
this?
lot of concluding thoughts. So, as a woman's perspective on this, if you are, if you're a single mom and you have a lot of responsibilities on yourself, and let's take Christmas time for example, okay? Christmas time is the most beautiful time, but it is the most busiest time for people on the field, for like the clothing store, the toy store, all the things. And you've already got a list. I'm making a point here. You got a list of things you've got to accomplish for dinners, for Christmas gifts and all the things, and your thought life is like, oh my gosh, I've got all this intel I got to take care of, but you got your thoughts configurations, you got your brain computations, you got your codes of action. So at this point, you've got your list, you got your thoughts of what you're going to do, you're thinking about the computations of what it's going to take. So the next thing is that what are you going to do for your codes of actions? So that's another thing. You have to use wisdom at this point. Where you're going to go, how much you're going to spend, and make sure you're not going to go in the hole. Okay? So that is when you have to think about the law abiding of algorithms, the governing maximum economic measurements. You've got to think ahead. You know, do they need that gift right now? No.
So that is super simple.
Right.
That's like
Super
that's like a budget.
That's like a budget.
We're talking about like increasing your income at your job. You have to get into the details. You right there. You are the hero in your story, right? You have to see how you're going to increase your income, and you can get it working tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Right? Now, it will progress over time. You get better at it, right? At applying this. But if you don't have the pay increase, ask yourself why. Why don't I have the pay increase? And then see what code of action can I improve? And then improve your brain computation, your thought configurations by taking this course. To stay with us. Get the impartation.
Absolutely.
All right. Now let's keep moving. Neuroplasticity. All right. The ability of neural networks in the brain to change through growth and reorganization. What? Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Let's just read this again. So we know about Romans 12, renew the mind, transform the mind, metamorphose the mind. If you look at certain definitions, right? It says we have the mind of Christ. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. So here we have science, here we have scripture, spiritual, right? So we're going to go on the side of science right now on that logic, still sanctified, still holy. All right. So here we go. Neuroplasticity, the ability of neural networks in the brain to change through growth and reorganization. It's when the brain is rewired, programmed to function in some way that differs from how it previously functioned. These changes range from individual neuron pathways making new connections to systemic adjustments. The invented teaching methods within this guide are helpful for improving our reception of knowledge and decision making. Wow. So I spent a lot of time, line upon line, precept upon precept. I got 10 years into this, and I'm really excited to show you what I've done. Now, one of the things I've done, let's go back to the next slide, because I've been doing the neuroplasticity, is I developed codes of actions that were technical writings that I wrote, and I was awarded a patent for one of my inventions. I have a lot of different inventions, but one was awarded a patent, right? So this can apply to all different levels of income. This can apply to all different levels of education, right? Now, getting a patent, you're like one in a millions, for getting a patent for your specific niche and what you got your invention for, right? So I want you to be one in, more than 1,000, one in a million, right? More than that, all right? So that should be your standard. All right. Why? Because neuroplasticity. What? Yeah. King Solomon applied neuroplasticity. You can too. All right. Brain cognition skills. Okay. Now I know we're going a little bit long here, depending on what your time frame is. We're coming up on 50 minutes. Got you a lot of cookies on the bottom shelf. These are some of the brain cognition skills you can look at right here. We can improve these every day. We're going to go super, super quick. At least focus on one of these. Just focus on one. Don't be overwhelmed. Focus on one of these during this challenge, during the course. Reception of knowledge, information, and data within thought figures, within your brain. Comprehension of future outcomes before decisions are made. Arithmetic for daily decisions. Insight, decision making, cognitive reasoning. Evaluation, analysis, computations. Wow. Acumen, problem solving, and linguistics. Now, that's a really good one that I'm focusing on every day. The production of language and words and numbers, usage of specific configuration of words and numbers. Ooh, that's good. It's the assembly of words and numbers that will take you places. So look at the CEOs, look at the highest paid professions. They are very good at the production of language and words and numbers and specific configurations of words and numbers. Lawyers, doctors, engineers, right? I can keep going. Okay. All right. Now, we're taking a stand for Nigeria, Africa. We're standing with Nigeria, Africa. Their righteousness is going to continue to exalt that nation. And it's going to improve. And we're going to do it economically. We're going to come alongside Nigeria, Africa, and we're going to support them. How are we going to support them? We're going to support them by raising GDP. All right? Now, how are we going to do it? Well, we just went over some of the brain cognition skills. All right. Now, this gentleman right here, he needs help. All right? He needs help to increase GDP and limit systemic losses in production and raise taxable income. And we're going to do that. We're going to help this guy right here. All right, here's macroeconomics. And what are macroeconomics? What does that have to do with it? Well, we got maximum financial assessments for individuals, families, and governments. So I was awarded copyright certificates on superior macroeconomic policies. This was the registration number that I got. So we'll go over GDP. This is a move of God. Well, where's it going to show up on a macro level? It's going to show up on a GDP calculation. What? Yes. GDP calculation is going to have two new factors in it that we can use. All right, now here's consumption, investment, government expending, exports minus import. So we're taking a stand for the nation of Nigeria. And we're saying it's time to rise up. Excuse me. Rise up. Why are we rising up? To new GDP levels. How are we going to do that? Increase output. How are we going to do that? New factors and equations. What new factors and equations? In the GDP calculation. All right. Now, these are a good baseline. We won't go over this now, but you'll get a macro view. You can learn more about it from Harvard. Here's our new brain cognition skills, PC and PC, professional codes of conduct. Professional codes of conduct and brain cognition skills. That's what we're adding. Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, very interesting. You can add it to this expenditure method. All right. Now, here we go. We're going to constantly pull up the GDP rates through market volatility. So the market, all those things we just discussed, government spending, consumer spending, investment spending, export minus import, that changes. So it'll be called volatility, right? So we want to make sure that we have a constant. We do have a constant. Brain cognition skills and professional practices and codes are our constant. All right. Now that's a brief definition of professional practices and codes that improve those financial assessments. Here is what the economic factors 1 through 14 that we are going to help the government. The government has a tough job, right? So they're constantly dealing with changes, right? So what type of significant economic factors are there? Honey, you want to read these?
Sure. So number one is inflation percentages. Goes from high or low. Number two is deflation percentages from high or low. Interest rates, of course, high or low again. Consumer spending, decreased or increased. Legislation. Number six is quantitative, quantitative,
Quantitative easing. That's the
quantitative
amount of
easing.
fiat currency that government prints, or you could say sort of like paper money. Okay, let's
Okay.
go to seven.
Government spending, export to import ratio, the amount of capital invested into business productive assets. Number 10 is recession, depression, wartime, famine, and lastly, additional influential market conditions.
So a government is constantly dealing with these significant factors. They're constantly assessing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so as you can see, these fluctuate, right? High or low, decrease or increase, right? And so what happens is that we come alongside them and regarding all these, and we have a constant factor: brain cognition skills and professional
Mm-hmm.
codes of conduct.
Mm-hmm.
So we're taking a stand. We are so excited to help Christians and the nation of Nigeria by stopping these injustices. What are the injustices? Well, this may seem overwhelming, but we're going to be making progress. There's 12 million Christians that have been displaced since 2009.
Mm-hmm.
17 Christians are killed for their faith every day in Nigeria. What? Oh my goodness. So what we're doing is we're saying that now Christian codes of conduct, these are codes of conduct that anybody can apply, but it happens to be that the congregation of Christians produce these better than anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Anybody can apply those brain cognition skills. Anybody can provide those professional codes of conduct. Anybody can improve those, but the Christians can do it the best. And they help people improve. They are able to do the neuroplasticity of the mind more effectively. So we're going to stop the killings of innocent girls and boys abducted, churches burned. They live in terror, burned, and people burned alive. You can look up the ACLJ for this information. You can look up the equipping and the persecuted for factual information. All right. So we're going to stop that. So here, let's change the screen here. All right. So we're stopping this. We're preventing this. The government is going to see that, yeah, we got to start protecting the Christians. All right. All right. Now let's get going here. All right. So here's the truth of Nigeria. You can see what's going on there. You can see what's going on the articles, that this is uh, a major problem.
Mm-hmm. It's very sad.
And the government and the police are going to rise up and they're going to stop it because they want to limit systemic losses in production. They want to rise gross domestic product.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the ACLJ, the world's deadliest place to be a Christian. Here you can see here, tens of thousands of Christians have been murdered since 2009, and the entire communities erased in overnight attacks. Thousands of churches have been destroyed, pastors targeted, and families forced to flee ancestral lands. It's not random violence. It's a sustained pattern of persecution directed at believers because of who they are and what they believe. And this is found in Section 9 of the Quran. Section 9 of the Quran. It's also found in other sections of the Quran. And they may practice other practices that distort their meaning. But this is done by people who believe in the Quran, the ideologies of Allah and the uh, persecution against Christians. Now, that's one of them. That's not the only one. Not only Allah and Section 9 of the Quran, but you got other things like we'll discuss later. All right. Now, we'll get into the macroeconomics later, and we're just over an hour. So let's just recap a little bit. We want to make sure that you take an action step, right? Let's go to an action step. Let's see what you can start focusing on. All right. Right here. All right. Now you can see before and after. All right. Wow, that was a lot. All right. So we went over brain cognition skills. We went over professional codes of conduct. We went over how we can improve. We went over how the mechanical function of righteousness can economically exalt a nation. We went over how this can stop this terrible, cruel atrocities. People have cried out for God, and they're relying on me and you to step up and answer the call. Well, we got to take care of ourselves first. So we're going to improve our brain abilities and improve our professional codes of conduct, right? Then we're going to get involved in government. Christianity, certain Christian codes of conduct are going to be involved in government. Why? Because they're involved in the social science of economics. Why is Christian involved in the social science of economics? Now it is. Because of brain cognition, professional codes of conduct, we'll get over more of how it limits systemic losses in production. We'll talk more about that later. But for right now, you want to be a part of this movement. You want to be a part of taking a stand against persecution of Christian values, whether you're in Nigeria or you're in America or whatever nation you're in. You want to be a part of what God's doing, that righteousness economically exalts a nation. You want to be a part of limiting systemic losses in production. Right? You want to be a part in advancing your brain abilities, decoding more algorithms. So focus right now, if you haven't wrote it down, focus on what income source you want to focus on. And then when you take the course and go through this challenge, you are going to get better. Why? Because your brain abilities are going to increase. Okay, we are excited for you in the next challenge day, and give us comments. I know this may not be live for some of you, but for some of you it is. Give us comments, all right, on what you are going to do, right? Because it's group, the accountability, we're better together concept. I'm going to work on it too, because I know I can always improve. So I'll put something in the comments.
Me too.
Danielle can put something in the comments, and we are going to improve our brain abilities together. And thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah,
and we're excited to make progress with you on our mission.
See you guys tomorrow.
All right, let's move our personal finance form, and we'll do an official super wave here. All right.
Bye.